What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today we are continuing our look at the upcoming Colossal Warfare Dragonball Super expansion by having a look at some of the blue cards. And they're pretty disruptive, and they're pretty annoying, and they're going to take your hand cards and your battle cards and kind of get rid of them, and it's going to be a little bit hilarious. So, starting off with a new leader then, Hirudegarn. And I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong, which I probably am. Now, pre-awakening, we've got, well, 10,000 power, which is to be expected. And we've got a skill here. When this card attacks a leader card, you may choose one battle card from your hand and place it in your drop area. If you do, draw 2 cards. That's not bad. Drawing 2 cards a turn, that's going to help you get set up. You do have to drop a battle card, but it's not the end of the world. As long as you've got one, you don't mind dropping. When your life is at 4 or less, you can get the whole awakening thing going on. Getting 2 of your energy, switching them to active, and flipping over to Awaken Perfection Hirudegarn. And it's got 15 power, which we expect. And just 1 skill. When this card attacks, draw a card. Then, if you have 4 or more energy, your opponent chooses 1 card from their hand and places it on top of their deck. That means that if you awaken before you've got 4 energy out, you get the extra power, but you don't get this skill. But it also does a couple of good things. Firstly, it takes a card out of your opponent's hand. That's 1 less card with which they can combo during your turn, etc. But it also means they don't get a new card at the beginning of their next turn. It goes to their turn, they should draw a card and get something else to use, but no, they don't get an extra card, they don't get anything else to use, because they just redraw the card they just put down. Now, what they could do is put down a card they know they're not going to use until their turn, so they're not really losing anything on your turn, but it still means they don't get that extra card at the beginning of theirs. Sounds pretty annoying. Then we've got a bit of the old sneak attack Vegeta. Free cost with 2 blue, 15,000 power. It's got barrier, which is quite nice, can't be chosen by the skills of your opponent's cards, means it's more likely to stick around and all of that. And when this card attacks a leader card, your opponent chooses 1 card from their hand and places it on top of their deck. So now, not only can you use your leader to get rid of 1 card from their hand, but you can now use Sneak Attack Vegeta to get rid of another card from their hand. And because it's when you attack a leader card, it means that you can do this every single turn. This isn't a when you play it skill. This is a once per turn skill. Every turn, 2 cards from your opponent's hand back onto their deck. So now they're only actually going to draw 1 of those at the beginning of their next turn. So they're actually still going to be a card down when it gets to their turn. That's wonderful for you, not for your opponent. Then we can bring in Phantom Flame Cannon. Now it is an extra card with a 1 blue cost. If your leader card is Hirudegarn, which of course it will be in the mono blue deck we're talking about, it gains 10,000 power for the duration of the battle. Now it's up to 25 or 20, that's awesome. Then choose up to 1 card in your opponent's hand and place it on top of their deck. That is 3 cards from their hand onto the top of their deck. First of all, it takes 3 cards away from their hand, which they can't use this turn. And secondly, when it goes to their turn, they draw 1 of those 3 cards, but they're going to have to try and find skills to draw 2 more cards just to put themselves in the same position they were before you started getting rid of all their cards. If they can't, then you can still use your leader next turn, you can still use Vegeta next turn, and hopefully you can draw into another Phantom Flame Cannon or 2, because this is an extra card. You could potentially play 3 or even 4 of these in 1 turn and get 6 cards from their hand onto their deck and just completely wreck their hand. And if you really want to clog up their deck, might I suggest Oath's Power Tapion. When you play this card, you may choose up to 2 cards from your life and add them to your hand. It's a free cost, 2 blue, 15,000 power. If you choose to add 1 or more cards to your hand, choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards with an energy of 5 or less and place it on top of your owner's deck. Now, this isn't going to kind of hurt their hand, it's not doing anything to their hand, but it is clogging up their deck. So if you make your opponent put down a bunch of cards onto their deck, like we're doing with the last few cards we looked at, then you drop this, you can take a battle card that they probably don't want to draw into next turn, put that on top of their deck, so not only have you wrecked their hand, but you can essentially, if you play this last, you can force them into a top deck that they just don't want to have. And heck, while we're here, why don't we get a whole bunch of other battle cards and get rid of them? How about looking at the legendary Flute? Now, legendary Flute is another one of these cards we can use. It's free. It's an extra card with no cost. If your leader card is blue, good news. Choose up to one of your or your opponent's battle cards with an energy cost of 3 or less and return it to its owner's hand. If it was your own battle card, draw one card. So for instance, you could use it to pick up your Boost Attack Piccolo, which you can only have 4 in your deck, because, you know, super combo. I mean, you can only have 4 of any card, but only 4 super combo. So you pick one of these up, and then you get to reuse it, and you draw a card at the same time. So either you force your opponent to pick up a battle card, or you go and reuse something like Boost Attack Piccolo. Then we could have a quick look at Dragon Fist Super Saiyan 3 Son Goku. It's got barrier, it's got double strike, it's a 6 cost, 2 blue, 25 power. When this card attacks, choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards, ignoring barrier, and return it to its owner's hand. Then choose up to 2 of your energy and switch them to active mode. This does go along with Bandai's commitment to make more cards that get around barrier. In set 3, barrier was getting a little bit too strong, so they are trying to reverse that a little bit in set 4. And I mean, it's expensive, but you get to get any one of your opponent's battle cards, even if they've got barrier, no matter how good it is, and put it to their hand. Then choose up to 2 of your energy and switch them to active mode. That's quite nice. I mean, Flute just got rid of one of their battle cards. This gets rid of one of their battle cards. Tapion got rid of one of their battle cards. And actually, we've got one more chance here to get rid of a battle card. How about Sneak Attack Son Goku? It's a free cost, 1 blue, 15,000 power. When you play this card, choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards and return it to their hand. Very straightforward. Now, it doesn't go through barrier, but it is any battle card that doesn't have barrier. So now we can get rid of one battle card with this, one with Dragon Fist Super Saiyan 3 Son Goku, one with a legendary Flute, although you might want to reuse your own with that one, and one with Oath's Power Tapion. While we get rid of one of their cards with Phantom Flame Cannon, one of their cards with Sneak Attack Vegeta, and one of their cards with your leader, this has the potential to be a really quite annoying deck, getting rid of their hand cards and taking all their battle cards off the field. But are you excited about it? I think this looks kind of cool, but I'm just excited for all the black cards I showed you back on Friday. But either way, I want to know from you guys, so let me know in the comment section. Go nuts! Be nice. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at the Wossy, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCG Radio. But by far the most important thing, as always, is to look after yourselves until next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.